So, let's introduce the team. I'm Mark, I'm the press officer from the station. Been in Clacton now for just over 5 years. Started off on shore crew and now I'm press officer, so I cover all of the media stuff. And this is my colleague Gary. Gary, do you want to introduce yourself?
Hi there, thanks for joining everybody. So I'm Gary Olsen, I'm a staff member. I'm the regional estates manager. So my responsibility is all of the buildings. So essentially, if you tipped it upside down and shook it, it doesn't fall out, it belongs to me.
So we'll start off with just a little bit of video. Please excuse if this is a bit jerky, it was all done at the last minute. But if you want to just go forward, just a little taste of what happened a couple of Saturdays ago. Station a couple of weeks ago, and so tonight really is all about its planning. Is that good, is it, Gary? That's right, no worries. We'll sort that out in a second. Stop. So Gary's going to tell us about why we're all here today. I hinted it at the start of it about temporary housing, so Gary, please.
Yes, so as you can see, we've got this fantastic river boat outside with the stars that it sits on. That's the Shannon recovery system. So we need to look after it. So what we're proposing to do is have a medium-term temporary housing for it, and it's going to be part of a sort of planning application process. But we wanted people to have the opportunity to hear about it from us firsthand and ask questions about it, and then as and when you might see information about the planning application, you'll be better informed. So what we'll be doing sort of today is once Mark spoke a bit about the RNLI, we're going to be talking in a bit of detail about what our proposals are. As Mark said earlier, if you've got any questions along the way, just raise your hand and we can hopefully give you the answers that you need.
Brilliant, thanks Gary. I'm conscious that I'm going to be preaching to the choir here about the RNLI because a bunch of people are very knowledgeable about what we do. So forgive me if we're covering a bit of old ground. But essentially, the RNLI is a charity that saves lives at sea. Simple as that, and that's why we've got these wonderful lifeboats, dedicated volunteer crews that go out when the call comes. As we know, a very historic year this year for the RNLI, 200 years anniversary of the first lifeboat service that we put on. In Clacton itself, it's just over 40 years since we've had the last all-weather lifeboat on station as well. So it's and look at the walls around you. Look at the history that's on these walls and the legacy of the life-saving service that's gone on in this station. It's absolutely fantastic. And to be honest, we can't do it without people like yourselves and the general public that donate to the charity. We are 95% volunteer run, which when we think about what we achieve year in, year out, is absolutely quite remarkable. There are private companies that are running very, very badly and have got lots more money than we have. So we should be really proud of the heritage that we have here. Harry, would you mind stepping forward on the slide, please? We've talked about Planning 24, great year this year. Hopefully some of you would have come down and seen some of the events that we did. The 200 event where we signed the scroll was absolutely fantastic. We saw so many of our supporters there in that time. We've had events for our people on station, the group photo that you might have seen at the start of that video, real team spirit. Forward again please, Gary. So, talked about 95% of our people are volunteers. We don't generally pay people, we do pay some of the people that do some of the work in our head office and some of the other areas of business. But predominantly we are run by volunteers. People like you, me, everybody else. We've got 5,600 plus operational crew. So they're the people that really are at the sharp end of all of this, the ones at the shore crew that can escort our boats and our units out safely and recover them. That's the launchers, that's the helms, you name it, they're all part of that team, of that strong 5,600 team. We've had volunteer shore crew, and we also have, not so much in Clacton, because we have the beach patrol here in Clacton, but generally we've got volunteer lifeguards as well, so. Which is another important aspect of what we do. If we can help people on the beaches, so we don't have to launch the boats necessarily, that's a good thing. I think maybe we'll skip through some of this because it's probably what we've all seen before, but this is one that I really want to talk about. The guys and girls behind you form some of our crew, and they are really important because they're the ones that help launch the boats, go out on the boats and do the saving. None of that could happen without fundraising. And the people that go out of the boxes, the people that run our shops, our fundraising teams, all of those knit together to form a really strong chain. Because if we didn't have that money, and I talked about it, we're all funded by donations by the public, we couldn't do what we do, and these guys and girls couldn't do what they do without those funds coming in. So the work that the fundraisers do, I think we should always applaud them, because from the volunteer who opens the shop might only take £50, but that £50 goes towards saving lives. Absolutely it does. So they are unsung heroes in all of this. They really are. Really important. I feel very strong about it. It's our one crew mentality here. Let's go. Again, I said it before, you know, it's volunteer driven. You look at some of the stats that are on the screen here. You know, number of launches, the time that we go out, in all weathers, all times of day and night. The number of people we've aided in 2023 alone, over 10,000 people. If you think about that, if this service wasn't there, it could have been a very different story. So we should all be immensely proud of that. The number of hours at sea, and actually the number of actual class lives saved, so we might pluck somebody out of the water and actually save their lives. That's why we're here, that's what we're doing it for. And this new Shannon is a part of that toolkit that's going to sharpen that for us in the Tenderly area, and particularly in Clacton. So, really positive. Okay? He's broken it again.
Press the space bar. Thank you.
Okay, and in the northeast region where we are, again you can see, without the service people would be drowning. There is no other way of putting that. You know, the service that we have in this area is absolutely fantastic. And that's why we're here today to talk about Shannon and its capabilities and where we're housing it and what we're doing in the near term. So I think we'll skip through some of these stats now. And I think, so you've seen it out front. Difficult to miss really, isn't it now? The Shannon parked out front, which arrived a couple of weeks ago. And why is it important to us? A few things really. First of all, it's safety. This is a state-of-the-art boat that allows our crews to go out safely in particularly severe weather conditions. And whilst our two inshore lifeboats, the 85 and our D-class, are absolutely fantastic tools, they have served us so well, and the D-Class in particular will continue to do that in the future. But this boat goes faster, goes further, and it's safer for our crews. So it's a really important tool. So if we think about some days, I don't know if any of you guys saw the footage a couple of years ago of Hastings Lifeboat. They went out in one of the big storms, and they actually looked like they were going to turn over. It's a self-righting boat, so it keeps the crew safe. They've even got padded hydraulic seats, so that when they're going over that really rough weather, it absorbs all of those bumps. So it's an absolutely brilliant piece of kit. Very manoeuvrable, and the range is absolutely fantastic. So we talk about, you know, the life-saving and tendering coast. This tool gives us the ability to have much wider reach. So it's a great piece of kit. And the name, some of you may not know what actually happened with the donors, one of the major donors of the Shannon class lifeboat. So Chris and Joe West, a couple who were taking a cruise around Scotland, and they arrived in Tobermory, and it was absolutely blowing a gale. It was like up and down like this. And what do people do when on a cruise? They sit on one of the viewing lounges and looking out the window, see what's going on. And they noticed this orange boat going by every so often, braving these really bad conditions. And they looked a bit closer, and they could see it was an RNLI boat from Tobermory station. And that day they witnessed the crews, the brave volunteer crews, go out 3 times to assist other vessels. And at that moment they said to themselves, do you know, they're so impressed by the bravery and courageousness of our crews doing that, volunteers doing that. They decided now and then that we're going to donate money to the RNLI, and they are the major donor towards the Shannon class lifeboat. So we thank you very much. It's a brilliant biscuit, it really is. And let's move on. And this is a shot that we saw from a couple of weeks ago. First time the Shannon actually physically beached onto the beach just outside the boathouse here. It was a great day, and it was so nice to see so many supporters here. It really was. Absolutely fantastic. Okay, great. And another one of our SLAR's recovery system. That's difficult to miss as well. It's a big old piece of kit, but it's absolutely important for us to safely launch and recover the new Shannon lifeboat into the sea.
If I just interject on there, Mark, with the SLARs, it's a purpose designed by the RNLI, because that doesn't exist anywhere in the world. So to beach launch a lifeboat, I don't think many other places in the world that do that.
Okay. And again, another shot from a couple of Saturdays ago. So if we here it comes. Here it comes. Look at the speed. Fantastic. What a sight, everyone. And what I loved about that was the crowd reaction. You know, I was right there, and I'm sure some of these guys were as well, and the cheer came up and people started clapping. It was quite overwhelming, really, if I'm honest. The support that we feel from the community is absolutely fantastic. So thank you. So I'm going to hand over, because you're probably fed up with me talking there, I'm going to hand over to Gary, who's going to talk about the plans. The meeting, what we're here today for, is the plans for the storage of the Shannon in this short term.
Okay, so we've got 2 stages of this plan, the short term and the medium term. So the short term is where it is now on the hard, protected. And the reason why we've done that is that we didn't want to delay at all, if we could, actually get the life-saving asset on station. Because as soon as these guys can get passed out, it can be out there saving lives. And sometimes when you go through planning applications and so on, sometimes the stuff can drag on. So rather than it dragging on and on and on, let's just get the thing here, let's get it out there, let's get it deployed. So that's just another view of it. It's quite a beast, as you can see. It's also some of them we kind of really need to look after, which I'm going to go into next week. So, whilst a lot of the Shannons lie afloat around the RNLI, the Slars is less designed to be outside all the time, so it increases our maintenance costs and time. It also increases our maintenance costs and time on that if we don't have it stored somewhere more below. Okay, so we're sat in here inside the boat hall, and the Shannon at the moment is sat there. So what we've done is we've entered into and agreed a licence with Tendon, the local council, for us for it to be there. But moving forward, we're looking to make a plan application for a medium-term building. So it's not bricks and mortar, but it's not a tent here. It's something it's a modular building, it's high quality, it's made from aluminium panels. You see some images a bit later on. So, why have we chosen it here? Well, this grey band here, this is an easement, which is a legal prevention from anything being built over it. And this is when Orsted brought in the offshore wind cables, so that's a requirement, we can't go near that. And the more light grey easement, that's an outfall that goes out. So straight away, we can't do anything there. Here we've got some trees that border onto Hastings Avenue, so obviously we don't want to be interfering with those. During our conversation with tendering, we did consider an option of placing it across the road in the car park, but we did a pre-application advice process with Essex Highways, and they had a lot of concerns about road safety. And also you guys, being locals know more than me, can get a little bit congested there in the summer, on busy days, odd days, and there was a concern that there was bad parked vehicles or anything like that, it might get in the way of actually getting the boat out to sea. So we met with people from Tendring on site here in May, and we talked it through, and this is also their preferred location, the planning people, for us to have the boat there. So that's partly why we've gone for that. So you see there, those squiggly lines, they represent some additional planting that we're going to put in, because we're going to cut through that bank, because it needs to be level, but also making it cut into the bank reduces some of the visual impact of the building. So we're conscious that we're taking away some grass environment, so we're going to replace it with some nice planting. Someone was green thinking knows more about that stuff, they can figure that stuff out, but that's essentially what we're going to do. Any questions on that before we move on? Okay, great. So this is a section through it. So as you can see, there's not a lot of room either end. This rig is about 18 metres long, about 62 feet in old money, if you prefer that. So we basically got it as small as we could, but we can still get up to it, we can still maintain it. So this is an image, if you were over there and you're going to turn into Hastings Avenue. So this is what it would look like. There's our station behind there. So we decided we don't think we should be apologetic about what's housed in there. We think it's really important to celebrate the life-saving assets that are there. So these are not necessarily the final images, but it's just to give people a general gist of it. And what we'll probably do, we'll probably have some information for people about the asset, about the boat, and some water safety information, because that's really important as well as people coming to the seaside and visiting. And it'll be engaging with staff to sort of get younger people engaged in lifeboats. They might be career at some point. Actually, please go back down, sorry. So you can see here, when we cut into the bank and cut through it, we're going to infill the cutout with the planting. Yeah, that's what we're doing. So this is the view coming up Hastings Avenue. Obviously the photograph was taken when the trees were in leaf. We know the trees are going to lose their leaf and wings up, but that's essentially what we've got. And again, you can see we've got the planting. So yes, it is a big building, but at the same time we want to try and disguise it and not be a nuisance to the building.
I think it's important, Gary, to say that these aren't big brick buildings that we're. Yes. Do you want to talk about the construction type? Because I think it's quite important. It's quite a light touch, isn't it?
It is very much a light touch. So this is a temporary approval that we would get. It's not a permanent building. So the planners have already indicated to us the maximum time they'll allow is 5 years. And the reason why we're doing this is it gives us longer to plan what we do about this building. So, something I didn't address is the Shannon won't fit. Otherwise, we would have put it in here. It would have been an easy win for us, and we wouldn't even be chatting tonight because it'd be living in here. So, if you're planning and financing and preparing to do a big build like that, it's not something that you can do quickly. It takes a number of years. So, and as a charity, we have got limited resources to build it with, even limited resources to actually to plan it. And so we like to do as much as we can in-house. We could spend loads of money on consultants, but that's removing the money from the donors, and the purpose of the donations is to put these guys out on the boats. So it's not going to be a tent. People might say it's a tent. It's not that. It's a modular building. It's got a solid aluminium construction, so it's quite robust. But it's not a bricks and mortar building. We're going to have a light touching environment. We're going to have processes in place so that we're going to have soil contamination. And at the end of its time here, we can remove it. We can reinstate the bank and regrass it, and no one would know we were ever here.
Very good. And I think another aspect that's important is from what you've seen on the plans of the positioning of the boat. That's been carefully calculated as well for the safety aspect. So the guys and girls that are doing the launching of these lifeboats, it gives them a much better sight line to hit that slipway to launch the boats out, so that we can have much better, safer operation. Gary talked about the plans of maybe area across the road, and that seemed like a really good idea at the time. But when you think about people crossing the road, other road users, it makes it complicated. So we've done it in such a way to try and make this as streamlined and as safe as possible for not only the general public around us, but also our people as well.
So any questions on that before we move along to the timescales?
Just one. So the footprint that you were laying out won't affect the compound.
This compound here,
Yeah.
I think it's going to reduce it a little bit for medium term.
Where our launch vehicle is.
Yes, at the moment, go back to the plan. Just so I make sure I understand what the question is. So here, the boat is currently here, and that's your boat compound. So as you can see, we would encroach on it a bit.
It looks like this little green box to the left of it. I can't see it from here.
Yeah, that's that compound there. Do you mean the wooden compound?
Yeah, just near the ribbons. Yeah.
We're not proposing to touch that.
No, okay.
Now I understand the question, sorry.
Yeah.
No, the proposal was there's no reason for us to affect that.
So then we move on to sort of indicative timescales, Gary.
Yeah. So we've done quite a lot of work already on the proposal. We've already had a pre-application advice process, as I said, with Essex Highways, but we've also been through a pre-application process with tendering as well. So we're looking at early next year, January, possibly February, to make the planning application. Before the planning process, statutory process, like anybody else would do for any other building. So at that stage, anybody's got the opportunity to comment. We're expecting the process to take 3 to 4 months. Difficult to say exactly how long that will be, but that's generally what it will take. Once the planning consent is obtained, we need to go to the next stage of the design, the detailed design, where we kind of hoover up lots of information about environmental protection and sort of details of construction. And once we've got that, we then tender the works, because again, we've got an obligation to donors' funds to get the best value for the RNLI. And so we're hoping that we'll be in construction sort of round about the middle of next year. It's still a bit fluid at the moment, but I think what we can do, Mark, anyway, we can sort of do some post. When we get to milestones, through the various phases. So when we make the planning submission, there's a thing called validation. So when you make the plan application, they have to validate your application to make sure they're happy with it. once we get that, we get a planning number, so I see no reason why we can't put that out on social media, just so people can follow the progress of the application, and if you want to comment, it's easy to find the application. Yeah, and that's it. So once we've got that, we'll build the thing. It's anticipated to be a 6-week build, because it is a light touch. There's no excavation, there's no foundations, there's not concrete lorries, there's not loads of digging apart from we're going through the bank. So again, you know, we're very conscious of being good neighbours and keeping that kind of disruption to the minimum. Obviously in the future, if we rebuild this, that will be a proper construction site, but that will be a conversation for another day.
And just as what Gary talked about, some of the considerations we made for the existing compound here, we want to reduce the impact on light pollution for the residents in the area. We want to make sure that we keep noise to an absolute minimum. These things are big, they do make noise, but we want to try and minimise that. So the design phase that we've gone through right now is to fine-tune some of those things so that we consider them right really early up front, so we don't want to be retrofitting stuff later. So it's really important that we work in partnership with the community. That's the bottom line. We need to be a partnership with these guys and make sure that we are considering these things to minimise the impact. Because we don't want light pollution. It's great out there when it's dark out there. So it starts when it's not cloudy. The other night it's absolutely fantastic. So, you know, all those little things and the types of lights we use, LED lights. You don't want really bright burning lights that are going to burn through loads of electricity because it's pointless. There are better technologies out there. So we've made a lot of considerations in that to make sure that we're optimising energy use and disruption to the local residents. Any questions? Because we've kind of got to the end of the plans for the Shannon, it's temporary housing. Anybody have any questions before I hand over to another one? To about one thing. Yes.
If
Sorry.
the plan to the building plan could take up to next June, then in the interim time, does that just stay where it is and nothing changes?
Yeah, so I don't know. I'll answer that. The licence we've got at the moment will cover us for that period of time so that we can keep the boat where it is right now, whereas you walk past it today. With the temporary fencing, we've also got a security team on hand overnight so that they monitor the boat to make sure nothing happens. Nobody's going to break in, nobody climbs up and falls off and hurts themselves. All of that.
It's going to be more like a structured boat being out in the winter and what have you.
The boat itself is not really concerned because in a number of our stations they live on the water. So it's more, obviously we keep it in far better condition if it's inside. It's the sloughs, it mainly means we've got more maintenance to do. Our maintenance process is more, but you know, we're really keen to look after it. And there's been lots of conversations, so you know, within the organisation about getting the balance between what's important. Is it to just kind of wrap it in bubble wrap, or should we get it out there? And that's where we've ended up. We've ended up with a process. Let's get the thing here. Let's get the crew trained, and let's get it out in the water.
As soon as possible. Gentleman at the back.
I'm just the technical side of it. Hold a building down, which is basically going to be a great big parachute if you're not going to put any concrete down. Ground screws?
Ground anchor. So I haven't got the technical answers, so at the moment, so if you ask, I won't know. But it will be a proper design building and a piece of substance. Yeah.
Okay. My next question is, you've designed the whole of the building big enough to take a Shannon. If you're then considering altering or demolishing and rebuilding this building, where are you going to put the boats that are in here?
Normally, we have a good plan for that. So before, we had, when this was built, 20-something years ago, the boats were housed over the road in Hastings Avenue.
Okay, so is that then not going to create the plan issue that you described with Shannon if you put that the other side of the road and highways?
It's a good question, and I don't have the answer to you now.
I'm just slightly surprised that if you're looking at building something to house the Shannon, and it's pretty obvious that the B will probably go, but you'll still keep the D, that you haven't made the building big enough to get the D in there while you're doing anything to this.
I think that's done partly to reduce the impact. Because if we're talking about, say, 3, 4, 5 years' time, we're building a new station here, to have a far larger building on that embankment would seem to be unreasonable.
And you can fit
So-
lots of shipping containers in that.
Okay. If you can justify, I'm just slightly surprised that you haven't thought a little bit more ahead about what's going to happen and how you're going to have to vote. So you're then going to incur additional expense. I understand your impact thing,
Yeah.
and I think your impact thing of going into the bank and reducing and everything else is right. But if you were to go even another 8 foot in old money, 8, 10 foot, that will give you enough room to be able to put some of the other bits and pieces. That's just one of my
No, I mean,
observations. and
it's a fair
concerns.
point. So generally speaking, when we build a new station, if we can't house existing assets within the station during the build, we always have a design proposal to look after those assets during that build. So however many stations we've built over the years, that's something, there's always a proposal for that. But that's, in terms of the way we're funded as well, when we look at funds, we have to allocate the cost of that housing as part of that project cost. So this is a project cost here, so it's got definition. So we define what we're seeking to do, which is to house the Shannon and the Slas. So therefore, then we have to be very defined about the costs associated with that. So what you're saying are very valid points, but you know, do we spend more money in 5 years' time and less money now? And I think that's probably where we are. But in essence, we always do consider that stuff, because also we have to think about how we house the crew. So in other stations, when
Another thought, so.
exactly, yeah. So we normally bring in modular buildings, and the modular buildings are fitted out with drying rooms, changing facilities, ops capability. That's something we do all the time. So that's something as an organisation in the capital estates team in Paul that, you know, it's just sort of almost like standard stuff and becomes part of the preliminaries of the build.
Okay, one last question. Suppose if something happens and you don't meet your 5-year timescale,
Yeah.
have the council given you any indication that they might be prepared to extend the period that you've got the Shannon building up?
They won't. So not that they won't extend it, but they won't give you that indication now. So if you've got a temporary planning consent 5 years, for example, if at 4 years' time we think, hang on a minute, we need to extend this, we're then obliged to then go back to the planners, and it's their duty to consider the extension as a new application.
So it will have to be a new planning application and you'll have to follow all of the processes again.
That's right. And so whatever the planning rules are in place in 4 or 5 years' time, that's what we'll have to do.
Okay, so you get no leeway with planners. There's nothing in the planning requirement to help you for basically what is another service, a life-saving service.
Oh, we love it. If
Oh,
we,
right.
yeah, if we had private planners,
Yeah.
we treated it, we obviously they take into consideration that we're a search and rescue organisation. We're the only nationwide water search and rescue there is. So that's considered. So we get to build stations in places that no one else would get the opportunity to build a building. So please don't build a new Lifeboat station there on the Bron, on the seaside of the Bron, on stilts. No other organisation would probably get that consideration. But that council made us jump through a load of hoops as well. So they're obliged by the law, by the planning laws, to treat us the same as everybody else in terms of ticking the various boxes.
Well, the current planning, I've got a building company, so with the current planning changes, I can understand a lot of what you're saying, because I've just had rows with them.
Yeah.
So I understand your problems and your issues. Okay, thank you.
Yeah, no, you're welcome. No. And that's what we need. Let's have conversations like this. You know, going forward, happy to have conversations with people again.
Any other questions from you? Okay. So I'm just going to talk briefly about a topic that's close to my heart. Volunteering opportunities. The Shannon arrival, and even if we put the Shannon arrival to one side, we're always looking for new volunteers to help us, and that can be helping out in the shop, that can be helping our fundraising team. You know, I talked about that link, that bond, that's so important to give us the ability to get those boats out into the water. That's fundraising is a key element. I see some other fundraisers in the audience here, and they do an absolutely fantastic job. But if you're not interested, but you know somebody who might, get them to come down. Get us to have a chat with us. There's lots of different opportunities. There's opportunities to go out on the Shannon with the right training, with the right pass outs. We've got opportunities for the ILBs. We've got lots of different opportunities. So, you know, some people say, oh, you know, I'm not fit enough, or I'm too old, or whatever. Well, you're not, is the reality. You know, you can help us in ways, it might be an hour a week. It could be as simple as an hour a week helping the folks in the shop, and that will help us to fund those folks and get the guys and girls out into the water. So go to, the easiest way to find it, if you don't want to come and have a chat with us, is just go on to the internet and look for our RNLI volunteering opportunities, and you get a little search box up, put Clacton in there, and it will give you a list of all the opportunities available. And we just welcome anyone who embraces the ethos of our charity, which is saving lives and sea. If you've got that in your heart, my arms are wide open, mate, for you to come and join us. So
Now, how can you resist that?
no, I think they can. I think they probably can. Right, okay. I talked about the shop. I'm sure you've all been there. You've got Christmas cards already, have you? Have you got Christmas cards? Yeah, good, excellent. Please pop in when they're open. And then we've done quite a few events this year that have been quite good. I hope some of you have come to those events as well, like the fish and chips up night that we did in Chinese in town, which was very good. We had a quiz for that as well, which was excellent. We've also had the open gardens and our traditional open day around with the air show as well, which is absolutely fantastic. Why do we like those events? Well, yes, we like people coming on and donating money to us. Of course, that's absolutely wonderful. But why we like them is that we get to interact with all of our supporters. And that is so important for us because I've said it a million times, we can't do what we do without your help. In just coming to one cup of tea or coming to one of our events and getting to talk to you guys and how knowledgeable you all are about lifeboats. It's amazing. Somebody come up to me and said, oh, you've got scanner engines in that new Shannon, you're in the water jet system. And it's absolutely amazing how knowledgeable people are. So we've got loads more events coming up. The next one I think is Santa in Christmas, Santa's Grotto, yeah? So that's great. Great to see all the kids come to the station as well and they get to interact with the crew. So if you get them to come along, it's absolutely fantastic. And any support is always appreciated. Okay, and I'm going to kind of hand over to Sally, who is our community manager. And if you wouldn't mind just talking about the new appeal that we've got going, Sally, if you want to introduce yourself first.
Hi everybody, for those who I haven't met before, my name's Sally and I'm the community manager for the RNLI for this part of the coast and inland as well. I think as Mark said, there's so many ways that you can help us and get involved if you want to. And I think one big thing that you could do to help, a small thing, we've got some posters over there on the table advertising our volunteering opportunities because we really do have a big need for volunteers in all sorts of different roles at the moment. So if you could take along a poster, pop it up at work or in your local newsagents, community notice board, anywhere else, please let us know. And again, I'm sure Mark would be interested to know if you've got any links with organisations where we could post an advert about our volunteering opportunities too. So please do let us know and we can link you up. So just a few words about our appeal. Mark's already talked about how the Shannon came to be with us here in Clacton. So that wonderful couple upon holiday, Stormband, but we're so impressed seeing the RNLI going in and out to rescue people when nothing else was leaving that harbour. So they very kindly left us the money in their will to fund the Shannon, and they did include in that some money towards our training for the crew and to fund the initial set of kit that we need as well. It's a little bit small on the screen there, but if you look at the figures, our kit is quite expensive. And it's fantastic we've got the money to get up and running, get people out saving lives. But one thing that we do need to do going forward is to carry on recruiting new crew to increase the amount of time we're able to get out there to save people. And that comes with that ongoing training cost. And also, kit does get worn out and will need repairing, replacing going forwards. So that's why we've got an appeal in place which has been launched, it's live, and that will be running throughout 2025 as well. And that appeals to raise £60,000 towards that ongoing training and kit, so we've got the money there to fund that going forwards. There's lots of ways, if you feel that you can get involved with that. Again, we've got some posters and leaflets and information over there on the table. You can have a look on our website. So if you feel that you'd like to make a contribution yourselves, you can do that. But I think this is all about us engaging with the local community. So if you can help us spread the word and let people know what we're doing, that's just important. So yes, please come and have a chat with us about volunteering. If you feel like you'd just like more information about the build or about the appeal, we're going to all be here afterwards. So thank you for coming along tonight.
Thank you, Shannon. So really, it's just to say thank you for coming tonight. It's great to see a lot of our sports come along and hear about our plans. As Gary's talked about, the planning process will be going forward over the next few months, and we will publicise when the first approval has been achieved, so that we'll give you the opportunity to then review those updates on the planning site as well. And again, another part of all of this is that please engage with potential district council during that planning phase as well. So if you've got comments, you've got observations, you've got concerns, it's an open and fair, transparent process. So we want to be completely open about it and how we approach this, as why we've done this evening. So you can follow that process and please engage with that process as well, because we are stronger when we are closer to the community. Absolutely, 100%. We can do more when we're closer with everybody around us. So please engage with that as much as you can.
And on that note, you don't necessarily, it's not like I just complain, you can give comments of support. Because that's really important as well. People just assume a plan application, engagement process is just if you've got a concern. If it's something that you really want to support, then that'd be fantastic.
Yeah, absolutely. Very good. Any other questions before we draw this to a close? Good. Well, thank you everyone. Really appreciate your time coming out on this cold night. It's not very warm in the boathouse, is it? But hopefully a cup of tea or coffee has warmed you up a little bit. Please stick around if you want to have a chat with any of us, as Sally said. Happy to field any questions you might have.